Okay, so this pony here is Frankie. Nice little pony. Got a couple of little problems. So we've broken him to ride. He was already driving, but he wasn't very good. Now the problem is he's learnt, you know, he's learnt by over the years what he can do to get away with things, yeah. So it's a shame really that because whether the person that owns him can be in control of him, because you've got to be quite firm with him, and he mustn't get away with something when he knows perfectly well he's what to do and how to do it, but he'll argue the fact if he gets a chance. He was quite hard-mouthed, well, I would say very hard-mouthed. So we've got him in a rubber bit, and we've got him used to a rubber bit now. So if I just go walk, not a trouble at all. His teeth, we've had a look at them and they're pretty good. I mean, all teeth, if you have them done once a year, obviously after 6 months you could do them if you wanted to, but there's no real point because there's not that much on. But you know, they do seem to grow at a different pace, different horses sometimes. I mean, I had one in a team I used to drive as a youngster, and his teeth grew extremely fast, you know. I did, compared, because you had to have the vet to give them a rub up, you know, maybe certainly every 8 months anyway, and the others would go a year. So just the way it is. So we used to do him every 6 months, and the other one's just a year. But he's a nice little cob. He's a good boy. He'd do anything you want him to do, but where he can be a bit willful. He can plant himself. I don't know if you understand that expression, but I'm not going to back up. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Well, he will for me. He will for the other trainer. No trouble at all. He wouldn't be any problem whatsoever. He would just. But going back home, he already knows he's got away with. So he's going to try it on. So what we're going to do, we're going to get the girl to come down and go out with Katie, who does the riding. Okay, trot, bud. We'll go out with Katie that does the riding, and she'll take her out, have her in the school, and tell her, you know, not to let him get away with whatever he wants to do. And I can't say to you, it's this particular thing or that particular thing. I can't say that, because it could be anything that he would try it on with, you know. He'd go, you know, I'm not doing that, I'm not going to stand here, I'm going to stand over here, I want to stand just there. Very much like Ree's pony. The only difference with Ree's pony, that's actually got all the paperwork to say it's certifiable, it's crackers. But he's a nice boy. He can skip along here, he don't worry about the traffic now, not a problem to him. He wouldn't stop at junctions, you know, he'd know best, he'd walk forward, which is highly dangerous for everybody on the road. If we're going to bring these horses onto the public highway, they've got to be safe, and they've got to be safe, and they've got to be confident in themselves, and not to be, well, you've got to keep talking to them saying steady boy steady, you know, and all this sort of thing. You know, they've got to just go on as they're asked. Go straight over this manhole here, no trouble at all. These lines, another great big manhole coming up, small ones, you go straight over them, no trouble at all. He had another couple of issues that are not detrimental to the horse particularly, I suppose, but he had a couple of issues where, good boy, he's got boxy feet behind, you know. So we've had our farrier shoe him and trim him, and if he's done again, and then the time after that, we'll improve that to some extent. It's obviously done better with a younger horse. This horse is older, I'm not sure how old he is, I think he may be 8, 9, 10, something like 10 years old. 10 years old, yeah, Reece just telling me he's 10. So it's a little bit late to try and alter the shape of their foot, or assist with shaping their foot, I should say. But he'd go up here, no trouble at all. He's not concerned about anything really. And he's a lovely boy, you know, can stop him on a sixpence. And all he's got, he's obviously had a Liverpool in and a curb chain and all the normal stuff that's supposed to be what you use if you've got a driving horse. I've never heard anything so daft in all my life. So all the thousands of horses we train and drive in soft rubber bits, whether they're stallions and mares mixed, whatever, they all go fine in it. It's just the way they're trained. So as you can see there, old trailer's gone past. I could hear the horses in there, and you can smell them, that's definite, you know. When a trailer or a lorry goes past, they always get a whiff of it. And good boys. Go on. Got a lovely towel, great big towel. He was all clean just before we brought him out, and I left him in his stable no more than 10 minutes and he had a roll, look. Made himself grubby. But he's a lovely boy. You go along there, he won't speed up. You go on that slack rein at that speed, whatever you set him at, he'll just go at that, no trouble at all. And these road markings, no problem. There was a little bit of, he'd look at them before, look at manholes. Something on the side of the road would worry him, you know. So like you've got an old sign laid down here, obviously saying about this road was a bit flooded, you know. Well, when he first come, you see that there, that manhole you can see, look, he would jump at that, you know, that would frighten him. But he's, yeah, he's lovely. But they all come, given the time, and you've got to be kind. Steady, baby. So here's a good test of him standing. Oh, my little boy, that'll do, just stand still. So I don't want to pull his head off, I don't want to be hanging on to his head. I just want him to stand there when he's asked to stand there, yeah? So when he goes to move, what I'm doing is keeping the knees on me, my hands on my knees. Walk, baby. Trot, babe. So I keep my hands on my knees, and so that he walks onto the bit rather than me pull his bit on his bars, you know, on his gums. Rather than me do that, I let him walk onto the bit, so therefore he's doing it himself, it's not me doing it. So I keep my hands still on my knees when we're standing, and I've got a good grip on the reins. They can't go forward, but I am not pulling him. All I'm doing is, oh baby, good boy, walk on, trot. So I want, you know, to make that clear really, because it's a lot of people will do all this nonsense pulling, it's no good. When you want him to stand, once you've asked him to stand and you've achieved it, like now for instance, stand, I'll just keep my hands on here, right? So if he moves forward now, when he takes the slack out of the harness, yeah, like that, right, he's stopping himself. Walk. I'm not pulling him. And that's a very important thing to do with any horse, regardless whether it's trained or not. You don't want to be having to sit there with your foot on the brake and holding his mouth so he can't go forward and he can't go back. That's just bloody ridiculous. You know, that's not training a horse. That's, you know, you're confining it too hard, too strong, and they get frustrated and uptight about it, same as you would. So There, my little sugar plum. You're a good boy. Go on, darling, up you go. Come on in, baby. Round you go. And when we come down here, obviously we can't control what he sees. He's got to cope with whatever's here, isn't he? I mean, obviously we can't, you know, come at a certain time of day when there's no... I mean, this is about mid-afternoon. No, just after lunch, I think. Yeah, about 2 o'clock, yeah. So, and he's coping perfectly well, and all he's got is a rubber bit. After having a Liverpool and a curb chain, he's answering what we want. Lovely, you know, he's not... Okay, babe, trot, babe. So he's just going along really nice. And to be able to do that for a horse, it's so much nicer to have that soft piece of rubber. It's not cold when you put it in his mouth. It's nice and soft on the bar. See the big truck coming round there, noisy one. And he's going, you know, perfectly happily there. And that's what we want to be, don't we? We want to be, you know, kind with them, but firm. They've got to do what we ask them to do, but you've got to give them a chance to learn and take in and understand what you're asking them to do. Some horses, you've got to send them a text, write them a note, you know, about one thing, you know, tell them, sit down, have a conversation, write a note, tell them. Another one, it asks you to do exactly the same. Stand still, baby. Walk. Asks it to do exactly the same thing, picks it up first time, second time it's got it and understands that. But it's our job as trainers to make sure they understand, and that's why it's important when you've got a horse, you know, you've taught it something, then what I do, we take, let's go, just to, might be a slight exaggeration, but 3 steps forward, yeah, and 2 steps back. So what I mean by that, we'll go back and we'll get them to stand when they come out of the yard. Stand before they re-enter the yard. Big old noisy motorbike there. Come over there, darling, there's a good boy. Come up there, babe. Oh, that's it, my darling, on you go. Good boy. Come on, sugar plum. Frankie. You little rascal. So you see there, he's a lovely boy. Got a nice old rattly ladder on that little trailer there, you can hear it. Lovely. Takes no notice at all. And what I'm going to do, when Reed tells me there's no traffic behind me, down this straight if we can, and we'll bring him up to a sharp stop, you know, just like something run out in front of you. You see these trucks come in here, look, and he takes no notice at all. But he's a nice kind horse, but I don't think, I don't know, and I don't want to say, and if you don't know, you're best not saying. But I think in his lifetime he's been treated a bit harsh when it wasn't needed, you know. When we first got him and we put him in, you couldn't hold him. I mean, he would pull your arms out your sockets. But with a bit of patience and that gentle bit, they come back to it, and you know, there's a good baby. And when we do ride and drive, and a lot of people don't know that, we take horses for riding, and we're very busy with the driving side, and we do a lot of ride and drives. This one will be a ride and drive. which is a good thing, I think. A lot of people say they shouldn't do it. It's a load of nonsense. You know, every horse years ago that was like horses that were kept prior, I know of, you know, several old diaries that were kept by coachmen and stuff, and people I've talked to that did actually drive coaching horses. You know, they would say they would do a lot of the horses that were used for the summertime for coaching, going out to the races, could well be hunting in the winter, you know, to be ridden. Come on, baby, up you go. There you go, my darling boy. Yes, you are, you sugar plum. Up you come, babe. Good boy. So I'm going to go up this little road here so I can show you, you know, an emergency stop. Come on, babe, up you go. Good boy.
You're right, yeah.
Okay, so what we do now, if someone was, you know, dog was running out this thing, we want to stop, we just go, well, Frank, stand. I'm standing here like a soldier, yeah? And that's on a rubber bit, none of your curb chains and great lump of metal in its mouth. And that was an hard-mouthed horse, please believe me. It's taken us a good few weeks, well, not that long, about 3 weeks say, to get it to listen to the bit, you know. And they'll do it, you know. If you the thing is, what you have got to have is patience, and you should never ever set off to do something with these dear little animals. Dear little things, they give you their heart and soul. They'd, you know, climb a mountain for you, they'd fall to their knees, tear their knees, and still get up and do it for you, you know. Lovely creatures, they really are. But what you've got to do, you've got to have the patience. Never start off doing something that you think is going to take half an hour unless you've got an hour. Seriously. Because you've got to build that time in, you know, that extra time in. I mean, often people say, you know, would you do, well, I might, that's why I could never say to someone, oh yeah, if you come down then we'll take your horse out, you know, we have to arrange it. And we might spend, without exaggeration, I've across the arena, I want them to go through a certain hazard. They don't like it, they don't want to do it. So I just sit there with them, and eventually curiosity will get them, and they'll start touching whatever it is, you know, them stuff we have hanging down, the great big balls, you know, we have hanging down and other stuff. So they'll do that, and they use their curiosity. We're supposed to be the one with all the brain. It's about time we started using it, and rather than forcing them, kid them, you know, just kid them along a bit, give them a little bit of, you know, and they'll do anything for you. They really will do anything for you. You know, they're just lovely. You see old Frankie there, he's got soap the old mouth, plenty of soap in his mouth, and he's happy as a lot. Go on, my Frankie, on you go. And if I want to do this now, Frankie, come on, hup. Trot on, boy. Hey, good lad, trot. Trot on, Frankie. Trot on. Hup, Frankie. And I'll bring it to a stop. Whoa. Stand still, Frankie. Good boy. Yes, you are. Frankie, come back, darling. Come back, bud. Come back. Walk on, Frank. Now trot, Frank. Now jig. Jig, 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 jig. Trot. Trot on. So clear, precise instructions. And don't spend your life talking to the horse, tell him, good boy, well done, don't need that. They're far, far better off. A lot of people wouldn't agree with me, and that's fine. I'm just saying for me, you need just to have the instruction words you need to be safe, confident and happy in any environment and in any sphere of harness work. And horses will be dead simple, you know, they're nice and easy to do, and like that. If you learn that, patience of a saint, give yourself plenty of time, and they've got to work it out in their head. They have not got our brain. When people realise that, then you can treat them with the respect they deserve, because they certainly do. What we do with horses, anybody who's got a horse, it takes some believing, doesn't it? You take a ride, or a driver, but a riding horse, for instance, you sit on his back, you put a lump of iron in its mouth, you put draw reins on it and every other bloody gadget there is, and then you're allowed to kick it up the ribs and smack it on the bum with a stick. Well, that takes some justification. So if I can do it my way and get these horses going along happy like this, doing what I want to do, you just seen what he's done. You know, we brought him down here in a trailer. We did not bring him down here like drive him, you know, the 5 mile into town. He's come off of the trailer. You'll see when we go round in a minute, you'll see the motor car parked up with the trailer on. We have like a cattle box, extra tall one, so that we can get a carriage inside. And obviously get cobs about this size in all right with the carriage, and I do it the other way. We'll take 2 trailers down, and you know, 2 or 3 horses in a carriage, in a trailer, and we'll do it that way. So and he just keeps that old pace all the time. He just loves it, just goes round nice and steady, and that's good. All right, Mike, come round here, Frankie. Good boy. Go on, Frankie, up you go. No, up there, babe. Good boy. Thought he was going in that gateway then. Must look like a stable to him. Come on, my darling, over you go. We just park here because I know the people that live in this house, and they just keep an eye on our trailer for us. And, you know, come on, baby, up you go. No one minds, you know, it being there. Come on. There's good, baby. So that's his transport. We call it his limo. Come round, my Frankie. Hard round, darling. Tight round, tight round, tight. See all them stable stains on him. Look, he was lovely and clean. Oh, my baby boy. That's it.